April 10, 1963. A day that should have been like any other. The USS Thresher, a top-of-the-line nuclear submarine, begins its routine dive into the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. But by mid-morning, the unthinkable happens. The submarine, along with all 129 souls aboard, disappears without a trace. Silence. The question remains, was it an unavoidable disaster, or could something more sinister have been at play? Could sabotage have been the real cause of its demise? Built to withstand the crushing pressures of the deep, the Thresher was one of the most advanced submarines of its time, yet it vanished within hours of diving. The official story claims a mechanical failure led to its tragic end, but what if there were more hidden in the depths? As we dive into this chilling mystery, we'll explore all the possibilities. Was this simply a technical failure, or could espionage, sabotage, or something else have been involved? Let's uncover the facts and the unanswered questions that continue to haunt this tragic incident. As the USS Thresher continued its descent, everything seemed routine. But within minutes of the initial trouble signal at 9:13 a.m., the situation rapidly deteriorated. A series of short transmissions were sent back to the surface. The last words from the Thresher were a garbled message, experiencing difficulty. After that, silence. The next sound recorded by sonar was the unmistakable sound of the submarine's hull collapsing under extreme pressure. Could this mechanical failure have been something that could have been predicted? Or was there an external factor at play? These last words from the crew would become one of the most analyzed pieces of evidence in the mystery. Why did it happen so quickly? Why was the crew unable to recover or signal for help? Was this simply an unfortunate malfunction, or could there have been deliberate sabotage that led to the submarine's rapid failure? As the USS Thresher continued its descent, everything seemed routine. But within minutes of the initial trouble signal at 9:13 a.m., the situation rapidly deteriorated. A series of short transmissions were sent back to the surface. The last words from the Thresher were a garbled message, experiencing difficulty. After that, silence. The next sound recorded by sonar was the unmistakable sound of the submarine's hull collapsing under extreme pressure. Could this mechanical failure have been something that could have been predicted? Or was there an external factor at play? These last words from the crew would become one of the most analyzed pieces of evidence in the mystery. Why did it happen so quickly? Why was the crew unable to recover or signal for help? Was this simply an unfortunate malfunction, or could there have been deliberate sabotage that led to the submarine's rapid failure? The official conclusion of the Navy's investigation was that the Thresher's failure was caused by a malfunction in its piping system, which led to flooding in the engine room. According to this theory, the crew was unable to prevent the flooding, and the submarine was overwhelmed by water. The conclusion seemed plausible on the surface, but doubts about the simplicity of the explanation began to surface. How could an advanced submarine like the Thresher, designed to withstand such failures, be brought down by something as routine as a flooded compartment? Could a failure of this magnitude really happen in such a short time? Was there a cover-up to avoid admitting a weakness in the Thresher's design, or was the Navy trying to protect its reputation during a volatile period in global politics? Despite the official explanation, a different theory began to take hold: sabotage. The timing was too perfect for the loss of the Thresher to have been just an accident. In the midst of the Cold War, the U.S. Navy was actively testing its most powerful submarine. Could the Soviets have infiltrated the submarine systems? Or was there someone on the inside who intentionally crippled the vessel? Throughout history, sabotage has been used as a weapon in times of war and tension. Could someone have planted a device or tampered with the systems in such a way that the Thresher was doomed from the start? The more the theory was examined, the more chilling the implications became. During the height of the Cold War, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were at their peak. Both nations were racing to develop superior technologies, particularly in naval power. The USS Thresher, one of the most advanced nuclear submarines in the world, posed a significant threat to Soviet naval superiority. Could the Soviets have been involved in an act of sabotage, either directly or through espionage? Could they have managed to infiltrate the Thresher systems? While no direct evidence linking the Soviets to the loss of the Thresher has ever surfaced, the possibility of an enemy attack remains a chilling thought. After all, submarines like the Thresher were critical assets in both nations' strategic naval arsenals. If the Soviet Union had managed to sabotage the vessel without detection, it could have been one of the most successful covert operations in military history. Another theory that has gained traction over the years revolves around design flaws in the Thresher. While the Navy was quick to blame a mechanical failure, some experts believe that the submarine's design itself might have contributed to the disaster. The Thresher was one of the first nuclear-powered submarines to dive to such depths. Could its hull have been compromised by structural weaknesses that weren't apparent at the time? Many submarine engineers and naval experts have questioned the Thresher's ability to withstand the extreme pressures of the deep. Although the vessel was state-of-the-art, certain aspects of its design, such as the welding of its hull and the reliability of certain piping systems, were considered potential vulnerabilities. Could these design flaws have played a role in the Thresher's tragic fate? Could human error have played a part in the disaster? While the official investigation quickly ruled out crew negligence, many experts believe that the actions or inactions of the crew could have contributed to the loss of the Thresher. With the crew on a test dive, they were operating under a set of unique and high-pressure conditions. Could a misstep or miscommunication have triggered a chain reaction that led to the submarine's collapse? During high-risk operations, like test dives, human error is often a significant factor in the outcome. The crew aboard the Thresher was highly trained, but could a failure in their judgment or an unanticipated reaction to a mechanical issue have been the spark that led to disaster? The question remains, was there a preventable error that sealed the Thresher's fate? After the Thresher sank, a massive search and recovery operation was launched. The U.S. Navy, along with civilian agencies, scoured the Atlantic Ocean for any signs of the lost submarine. The search would last for months, but all that was found were wreckage pieces, scattered across the ocean floor. Despite the best efforts of the recovery teams, the Thresher's black box and other critical evidence remained elusive. Why was it so difficult to recover the Thresher's wreckage? Some argue that the intense depth of the submarine's final resting place, over 8,000 feet, made the operation incredibly challenging. Others speculate that there may have been factors beyond the depth, perhaps sabotage or destruction of key evidence, that made the full recovery impossible. Was the truth hidden deep beneath the ocean, or was it simply too late to uncover? As the years passed, conspiracy theories began to emerge, suggesting that the true cause of the Thresher's loss was being hidden from the public. Some believed that the Thresher had been deliberately sunk to cover up a greater secret. Could the loss of the submarine have been part of a larger political maneuver, perhaps to hide a failed mission or to prevent something from coming to light? Others theorized that the Thresher's destruction was tied to something far more secretive, perhaps even a covert operation or an espionage mission gone wrong. Whatever the truth, the questions surrounding the disaster have never fully gone away, leaving room for wild speculations and mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. The mystery of the USS Thresher's sinking has left a lasting legacy. The tragedy caused a shift in submarine safety, with new regulations and protocols put into place to prevent such disasters from happening again. But the questions that surround the Thresher's loss continue to haunt those who lived through it. Despite the Navy's official report, many are still left wondering if we will ever know the full truth. Was it a simple mechanical failure, a case of sabotage, or something more sinister? As time passes, the answers remain buried in the deep, and the mystery continues to captivate the imagination of those who seek the truth. After all the theories, investigations, and speculation, the truth about what happened to the USS Thresher remains shrouded in mystery. Whether it was sabotage, mechanical failure, or a hidden political agenda, the questions will continue to linger for as long as the wreckage rests on the ocean floor. Perhaps some mysteries are simply too deep for us to uncover. But one thing is certain: the loss of the USS Thresher changed the way the world viewed submarine safety and military secrecy. And it left behind a legacy of unanswered questions that will never truly be put to rest.
Thanks for watching, and subscribe my channel.